I still remember the first photo we ever took together. She posted it that same night with a caption about how lucky she felt to have found me. I read those words over and over, feeling like the most important person in her world. 2 years we spent building what I thought was a real relationship. I trusted her so much that I gave her a card linked to my bank account. What I did not know was that in her eyes I was just another element that could be deleted whenever it no longer fit her vision. Before I share what happened next, I would love to know where you are watching from today. Drop your location in the comments below. If stories about self-respect and knowing your worth speak to you, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Because what I discovered on her laptop screen that night changed everything I thought I knew about love loyalty and the true cost of being someone's afterthought. My name is Dominic, and at 28 years old, I thought I had my life figured out pretty well. I worked as a software engineer at a tech company in Austin, Texas, pulling in a solid salary that let me live comfortably in a nice 2-bedroom apartment downtown. Life was stable, predictable, and honestly a little lonely until I met Madison. I first saw her at a coffee shop near my office on a random Tuesday afternoon. She was sitting by the window laptop, open, completely absorbed in whatever she was working on. There was something magnetic about her energy. When I finally worked up the courage to talk to her, I learned she was 26 and worked in marketing for a fashion brand. She was passionate, ambitious, and had this infectious enthusiasm about life that I found irresistible. Madison was heavily invested in her social media presence, particularly Instagram. She had around 15,000 followers and treated her account like a second job. At first, I found it endearing. I thought it was just part of her career, a necessary tool for someone in the fashion marketing world. She would spend hours curating her feed, adjusting filters, and crafting the perfect captions. I admired her dedication, even if I did not fully understand it. But looking back now, I can see the warning signs I chose to ignore. Whenever we went out to dinner, she would insist on rearranging the plates 3 or 4 times before taking photos. She would ask me to move to different seats depending on where the light was best. If I smiled the wrong way or my hair looked slightly out of place, she would make me pose again and again until she got the shot she wanted. There was this one time we went to a rooftop bar for my birthday. She took probably 50 pictures of us that night, but when I checked her Instagram the next day, she had only posted a photo of the skyline. When I asked about it, she shrugged and said the lighting on my face was not good enough. I laughed it off, told myself I was being too sensitive. Another time, we took a weekend trip to San Antonio. We visited the River Walk, ate incredible food, and made what I thought were beautiful memories. She took dozens of photos of us together. But when she posted about the trip, every single image was either just her or the scenery. I appeared in none of them. When I mentioned it casually, she said my outfit did not match the tone of her feed that day. She said it so matter-of-factly, like it was the most reasonable explanation in the world. And I accepted it. I actually accepted it. I started paying more attention to what I wore when we went out, hoping I would finally be good enough to appear on her precious feed. That should have been my first real wake-up call. But love has a way of making you blind to things you do not want to see. Then came the night that shattered my illusions completely. It was a Thursday evening, nothing special about it. I had come home from work early, and Madison was in the bedroom getting ready to meet some friends. Her laptop sat open on the coffee table screen, still glowing. I was not trying to snoop. I was just walking past when her Instagram profile caught my eye. Something felt off immediately. I sat down slowly and started scrolling through her recent posts. My heart began racing as I realized what had changed. All the photos that had me in them were gone. Every single one. The picture from our trip to Big Bend National Park, where we hiked to the top of Emery Peak. Deleted. The photo from my birthday dinner last year, where she had kissed my cheek. Gone. The Christmas picture from her parents' house, where we wore matching ugly sweaters. Vanished. Some photos had not been deleted entirely. Instead, she had cropped them so carefully that I had been surgically removed from the frame. A group shot from New Year's Eve now showed only her and her girlfriends. I had been standing right next to her in the original. I felt my stomach drop. For a moment, I wondered if I was imagining things. Maybe I was remembering wrong. Maybe those photos never existed. But I knew better. Madison walked into the living room, saw me sitting there, and asked what I was doing. I kept my voice as calm as I could manage. "I noticed you removed all the photos of us from your Instagram," I said. "What happened to them?" She did not even flinch. She just tilted her head slightly, like I had asked the most mundane question in the world. "Oh, I just cleaned up my feed," she said. "It is for my aesthetic. My engagement rate was dropping, so I needed to refresh everything." I stared at her, waiting for more, waiting for an apology, an explanation, anything that would make this make sense. But she just smiled and said she was running late to meet her friends. After she left, I sat on that couch for what felt like hours. I kept telling myself I was overreacting. Couples go through rough patches. Social media is not real life. Maybe she was just stressed about work. But something inside me had cracked that night, and no amount of rationalizing could fix it. The next few days were torture. I tried to act normal around Madison, tried to convince myself that I was making a mountain out of a molehill. She was the same as always, cheerful and affectionate when it suited her, distracted and distant when it did not. But now that my eyes were open, I started noticing things I had ignored before. Madison was constantly on her phone texting someone and smiling to herself. Whenever I asked who she was talking to, she would quickly lock her screen and say it was just work stuff. She never used to be so secretive. She also started having a lot of company events that required her presence in the evenings. At least 2 or 3 times a week, she would get dressed up and head out saying she would be back late. Sometimes she did not come home until after midnight. And there was the perfume. Madison always wore the same scent, a vanilla and sandalwood blend that I had grown to love. But lately, when she came home from these events, there was something else mixed in. Something floral and unfamiliar. Something that was not hers. I tried to push these thoughts away. I told myself I was becoming paranoid, that I was letting my insecurity poison a good relationship. The following Saturday, I met up with my best friend Tyler at a bar near my apartment. Tyler and I had been friends since college. He was the kind of guy who always told you the truth, even when you did not want to hear it. After a couple of beers, I found myself telling him about the Instagram situation. I tried to play it cool, like it was no big deal, but Tyler saw right through me. He set down his drink and looked at me seriously. "Bro, that is not normal," he said. "You have been with her for 2 years, and she erased you like you never existed. Does that sound like something someone who loves you would do?" I did not have an answer. Tyler leaned forward. "Let me ask you something. You still letting her use your card? That joint account thing you set up?" I nodded. About a year ago, I had added Madison as an authorized user on one of my credit cards. She had been going through a rough patch financially, and I wanted to help. I told her she could use it for emergencies and necessities. Tyler shook his head slowly. "Check your statements, man. Just do yourself a favor and look at what she has been spending." I went home that night with Tyler's words echoing in my head. Part of me did not want to know. Ignorance felt safer than the truth. But I pulled out my phone and opened my banking app anyway. What I found made me feel physically sick. I started scrolling through the transactions on the supplementary card I had given Madison. Just the past 3 months alone told a devastating story. A designer handbag from a luxury department store, $750. High-end heels from a boutique I had never heard of, $420. Spa treatments and beauty services, over $1,200 every single month. And then there were the restaurant charges. High-end steakhouses, trendy fusion restaurants, rooftop bars with fancy cocktails. Hundreds of dollars at a time, often on weeknights when she told me she was working late or attending company events. I added it all up. In just 3 months, Madison had spent nearly $9,000 on my card. $9,000. My hands were shaking as I kept scrolling. The charges painted a picture I did not want to see. Many of these expensive dinners happened on nights when Madison claimed she was stuck at the office. The spa visits occurred on days when she said she was running errands. Everything was a lie. But I needed to know more. I needed to understand exactly what I was dealing with. I created a dummy Instagram account and searched for Madison's profile. Her public posts showed the usual carefully curated content, beautiful photos of her living her best life with no trace of me anywhere. Then I started looking at the posts she was tagged in. That is when I found him. Derek. According to his profile, he worked at the same company as Madison. His feed was full of gym selfies and photos of expensive watches. And scattered throughout his recent posts were pictures with Madison. The two of them at a sushi restaurant I recognized from my bank statement. The two of them at a rooftop bar where a $600 charge had appeared last month. And one photo in particular that made my blood run cold. It was taken at what looked like a hotel lobby. Madison was wearing the $750 handbag I had unknowingly purchased. Derek had his arm wrapped around her waist, and they were both smiling like they did not have a care in the world. I sat in the darkness of my apartment for a long time after that. I did not cry. I did not scream. I just felt this strange calm wash over me like the eye of a hurricane. And in that calm, I started making a plan. I did not confront Madison right away. I knew that if I did, she would find some way to twist the situation to make me the villain for snooping through her social media and bank statements. She would cry, she would apologize, she would promise to change. And I might be weak enough to believe her. Instead, I decided to let the truth reveal itself. The next morning, I waited until Madison left for work. Then I picked up my phone and called my bank. A friendly customer service representative answered. I explained that I needed to cancel the supplementary card I had issued to an authorized user. I understand, the representative said. I can process that cancellation right now. The card will be deactivated within 1 hour. That is perfect, I said. Thank you. After I hung up, I sat there for a moment, expecting to feel anxious or guilty. Instead, I felt something I had not experienced in months: relief. I went to work that day and actually managed to focus on my tasks for the first time in weeks. There was a strange peace in knowing that I had taken control of the situation. Whatever happened next, I had made a choice to protect myself. Saturday arrived. Madison announced at breakfast that she was going shopping with her girlfriends at the mall. She seemed excited already, mentally spending money that was no longer available to her. I smiled and told her to have fun. Around 2 in the afternoon, my phone rang. Madison's name flashed on the screen. I answered calmly. Dominic! What the hell happened to the card? I could hear the panic in her voice mixed with anger and embarrassment. It got declined. I am standing at the register right now, and everyone is staring at me. This is humiliating. I leaned back in my chair. Oh, did it? That is strange. Do not play dumb with me, she snapped. I know you did something. You need to fix this right now. Call the bank and fix it. I let a moment of silence hang between us. I am not going to fix it, Madison. I canceled the card. The silence on her end stretched out for what felt like forever. You? What? Her voice had dropped to almost a whisper. I canceled the card, I repeated. And I think you know why. She started sputtering, trying to find her footing. No, I do not know why. We need to talk about this. You cannot just make decisions like this without consulting me. I laughed softly. Consulting you? Like you consulted me before spending $9,000 in 3 months. Like you consulted me before deleting every trace of me from your Instagram. That is not the same thing, she hissed. You are right. It is not. Because what you did was lie to me. Over and over again. I could hear her breathing heavily on the other end. "Who are you with right now, Madison?" I asked. "Is it really your girlfriend's? Or is it Derek?" Dead silence. I saw the pictures. I continued. I saw the transactions, the restaurants, the hotels, the gifts. All paid for with my money. While you erased me from your perfect little Instagram life like I never existed. She started crying then. She said it was all a misunderstanding. She said Derek meant nothing. She said she loved me. "Save it," I said. "I am done." I hung up the phone. About 45 minutes later, I heard keys in the front door. Madison burst in her mascara, smeared her face red from crying or anger or both. Then she stopped cold. Arranged neatly in the living room were several cardboard boxes. Her clothes, her toiletries, her books, everything she had accumulated in my apartment over the past year, all packed up and ready to go. "What is this?" she demanded. "You are kicking me out." I stood up from the couch. I had been waiting for this moment. "This is my apartment," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I pay the rent. I paid for the furniture. I paid for pretty much everything you own. And you used me." Her face cycled through several expressions: shock, anger, fear, and finally desperation. "Baby, please," she said, her voice suddenly soft and pleading. "I made a mistake. I know I messed up. But I love you." Derek did not mean anything. It was just a moment of weakness. I shook my head. A moment of weakness that lasted months. A moment of weakness that cost me $9,000. She tried another approach. "We can work through this. Couples go through hard times. We just need to communicate better." "Communicate?" I echoed. "You deleted me from your social media because I did not fit your aesthetic. You deleted me from your life the moment you started lying to me. All I am doing now is making it official." Her expression hardened. "Fine. If that is how you want to be, then fine. You know what, you were never really there for me anyway. You were boring. Derek actually made me feel alive." "Good," I said. "Then go feel alive with him. But not on my money." I walked to the front door and opened it. "Your Uber is already booked. It should be here in about 5 minutes. Goodbye, Madison." She grabbed her purse and started picking up the boxes, all while hurling insults and accusations at me. I was controlling. I was jealous. I never appreciated her. I would regret this. I did not respond to any of it. When she finally left, I closed the door behind her and leaned against it for a moment. The apartment felt different already. Quieter. Emptier. But for the first time in months, I could breathe. My phone buzzed. A text from Tyler. "You good, bro," I typed back my response. Never better. That night, I deleted Madison's number from my phone. I also deleted my Instagram account entirely. Not because I was ashamed or trying to hide from anything, but because I realized I did not need to prove my existence to anyone. I did not need to be part of anyone's aesthetic. I just needed to be real. I cooked myself a simple dinner that night. Just pasta with marinara sauce and some garlic bread. Nothing fancy. I ate alone at my kitchen table, and for the first time in a very long time, I felt like I was actually living my own life. I wish I could tell you that everything was easy after that I woke up the next morning feeling completely healed and ready to move on. But that is not how heartbreak works. The first few weeks were brutal. I would wake up in the middle of the night, reaching for someone who was not there anymore. The apartment felt too quiet, too empty. Every corner held a memory of something we had done together, some moment I had thought was genuine, but now had to question. Some mornings I wondered if I had made a mistake. Maybe I should have given her another chance. Maybe I was too harsh. Maybe I threw away something real over social media and money. But then I would remember the lies, the carefully cropped photos, the expensive dinners with another man charged to my card, the way she had looked at me when she said I did not fit her aesthetic, like I was just another prop that had outlived its usefulness. No, I had made the right choice. The hardest part was accepting that the Madison I fell in love with probably never existed. I had loved an image she presented to the world. I had loved the version of herself she curated for her followers. The real Madison, the one who could lie to my face while spending my money on dates with someone else, was a stranger to me. About a month after the breakup, my Aunt Gloria came to visit from San Antonio. She had always been my favorite relative, the kind of aunt who would sneak you extra dessert at family dinners and always knew exactly what to say when you were going through something hard. She took one look at my face and insisted on cooking me her famous baked ziti, the dish she had made for me since I was a little kid going through a bad day. We sat at my kitchen table while it baked, and she listened as I told her everything. She did not interrupt once. When I finished, she reached over and squeezed my hand. "Heartbreak is not a sign of weakness," she said. "It is a sign that you were brave enough to love. Not everyone has that courage." Those words hit me harder than I expected. I had been so focused on feeling foolish for trusting Madison that I had forgotten there was something noble about being willing to open your heart to someone. Aunt Gloria stayed for the weekend, and by the time she left, I felt something inside me start to shift. I decided to focus on myself for a while. I signed up for an indoor rock climbing class at a gym near my apartment. I had always wanted to try it, but never made the time. The first few sessions were humbling. My arms burned, I could barely make it halfway up the beginner walls, and I fell more times than I could count. But there was something therapeutic about the struggle. Every time I pulled myself up another hold, I felt a little bit stronger. Not just physically, but emotionally too. I met some good people in that class. Regular folks who showed up to challenge themselves, who encouraged each other without any ulterior motives. Nobody cared about followers or aesthetics. They just cared about the climb. Tyler also made a point to get me out of the apartment more. Every weekend we would go hiking at different trails around Austin. Barton Creek, Greenbelt, McKinney Falls. Whatever looked interesting. We would spend hours out in nature talking about everything and nothing. I started keeping a journal. Every night before bed, I would write down my thoughts and feelings. The anger, the sadness, the confusion, all of it. There was something cleansing about putting those emotions on paper instead of letting them rattle around in my head. Slowly, without even realizing it, I started to smile more. Real smiles, not the forced ones I had been manufacturing for months. About 6 months after everything ended, I heard through mutual acquaintances that Madison and Derek had broken up. Apparently, he had cheated on her with someone from their office. She had posted a tearful Instagram story about being betrayed by someone she trusted. I will not lie. There was a small part of me that felt a twinge of satisfaction, but mostly I just felt sad for her, not in a condescending way. Genuinely sad. She was so busy chasing a picture-perfect life that she never learned how to build a real one. She traded authenticity for aesthetics, and now she was paying the price. But that was her journey, not mine. Looking back, I realized that Madison deleting me from her Instagram was actually a gift. At the time, it felt like a slap in the face, but it forced me to see the truth I had been avoiding. It showed me exactly where I stood in her list of priorities. And it gave me the push I needed to find myself again. I learned some important lessons from that experience. First, your value as a person has nothing to do with how many times you appear on someone's social media. Real love does not need filters. It does not need aesthetic. It needs respect, honesty, and genuine presence. Second, setting boundaries is not selfish. Protecting yourself is not cruel. When someone shows you through their actions that they do not value you, believing them is not giving up. It is waking up. And third, sometimes the best way to love yourself is knowing when to let go. These days, I am not on social media at all. I do not feel the need to document every moment of my life for validation from strangers. I live for real experiences now, not content. I am not in a rush to find another relationship either. I am still healing, still learning, still growing. But I know that when the right person comes along, she will want to keep me in her real life, not just on a screen. If you are watching this right now, maybe you have felt invisible before too. Maybe someone made you feel like you were not good enough to be part of their carefully curated world. Maybe you are still trying to figure out what you are worth. Let me tell you something. You are not a photo that can be deleted. You are not a variable in someone else's aesthetic. You are a whole person who deserves to be loved exactly as you are. So here is my question for you today. Have you ever had to walk away from someone who made you feel like you did not matter? What gave you the strength to finally leave? I would love to hear your stories in the comments below. If this story touched you in any way, please give it a like and share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you do not miss future stories about knowing your worth and choosing yourself. Thank you so much for being here and sharing this time with me. I hope whatever situation you are facing right now, you find the courage to value yourself the way you deserve. You are enough. You always have been. Take care of yourselves. I will see you in the next one.